Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket aces. Pre-flop, this is the classic trap where one player thinks he is peeling light and instead steps right into a vice. Negreanu raises to 450,000. It is a chunky open, and that alone should already scream strength in this spot. George defends with Queen 10 suited. On paper, it is not insane. He has position, a hand that can flop top pair or strong draws, and he probably assumes Negreanu is opening wide. The flop comes 10-3 king with 2 clubs. From George's seat, this is the kind of board that looks playable but is silently dangerous. He has middle pair with queen kicker against a normal open that could be a standard continue, especially in position. Negreanu fires 400,000. That sizing is telling. It is not a tiny range bet, it is a big, old school, I have it continuation. With aces, he is not afraid of building a pot. The turn is the 7 of spades. Negreanu's strong hands are still strong. Kings, aces, ace-king, maybe king-queen all love this card. Very few of Negreanu's bluffs improve in a meaningful way. When Negreanu now moves all in, he is doing exactly what great players do with overpairs in these structures. Shove before the river kills action. He knows that if he just bets small and gets called, any club, queen, jack, or scary river freezes him and lets George realize all of his equity for cheap. By jamming turn into a pot that is already inflated, he puts tremendous pressure on all the middling hands that called flop.
He faults.
I had you beat. Good cards.
I'm happy with my fold.
Yeah.
It was hard though.
The pot was good. I'm like, I'll take it, but if you call, you call. You have to get there.
Did you have it pre-flop or you hit the king?
I had both. I had what you're supposed to have there. A pair of aces I had. Aces were good, right?
Now let's see how Negreanu pushes his luck to the limit on the very next hand.
All in.
Call.
All in?
Huh?
Call.
Oh, we got one. I'm happy with my hand. I had suited, I had a king. A lot going on there. You move in, I call this time anyway. I was just saying, screw it. Okay, we need a hat.
At least one heart on the flop would be good. For Daniel.
George needs the best hand to hold up to survive. The flop has a 5 and a 10 on it.
Oh, we got pairs. He's got pairs. We all got pairs. We all got 3 hearts, 3 diamonds. Pretty close race. 50-50.
Not sure the math there works, but you gotta believe it first, and Daniel really believes it.
The turn card is the 3 of diamonds.
That didn't help me at all. Quite the opposite, frankly.
5 of spades! Oh! Daniel wins!
That was lucky.
I just wanted clear that I clearly outplayed you in our all-in pots. Obviously.
Kid Poker is in the final.
All right. Sorry, bro. That was ugly.
Daniel Negreanu is holding on Queen 10 suited. Pre-flop, this looks completely standard on the surface, but the seeds of the later pain are already there. Negreanu opens Queen 10 suited from early, the kind of hand he loves, connected, plays well, multi-way, and can make disguised big hands. Dimjan flatting in position keeps his entire range wide, medium pairs, suited broadways, suited connectors, some traps. Then the big blind comes along as well. What that means strategically is simple. By the time they see a flop, there are 3 ranges involved, and Negreanu is the only one who has really capped nothing. He is the pre-flop aggressor. He has all the big pairs. He has the strongest broadways. The flop comes down absolutely dreamlike for Negreanu. 10 Jack-Queen. Top 2 pair, a board that slams his perceived range as the raiser. But it is also an insanely dangerous texture. Every random hand with an open-ender or a gut shot suddenly has a reason to stay. When Jacobson checks, Negreanu does exactly what you expect from someone who just smashed this board and knows he smashes it range-wise too. He bets 22,000. The sizing is important. It is not tiny stab sizing. It is a "this pot is about to get big" sizing. Dimjan just calls. That call is the first warning sign. He is not afraid of the story Negreanu is telling. The turn bricks off with the 3 of spades. From Negreanu's point of view, that is one of the safest cards in the deck. It does not complete any obvious draw. It does not pair the board. It does not change who is supposed to own this texture. So he does what good players do when nothing changes, and they already had a huge value hand. He keeps telling the same story and increases the pressure, betting 55,000. This is Negreanu effectively saying, if you were floating or gambling with some weak draw on the flop, this is your exit. If you continue now, you are representing something serious. The river brings the deuce of clubs, another nothing card in terms of raw texture. From Negreanu's seat, it is almost the perfect river. Straights are still the same straights, sets are still the same sets, and there are no obvious busted draws that suddenly got there. He still has top 2 pair on a board where he is supposed to have all the strong top-end value, so he fires again, 90,000 this time.
Raise.
I had a feeling you were going to do that on the turn. You waited. It was smart. You got me to bet one more time.
Daniel loves calling like Miley Cyrus loves a big foam finger, but I don't think even he can figure out a way to talk himself into this one.
8-9 or something? Doesn't matter.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, ace king. 2 pair. Queen 10. Good hand. 9,000.
Now let's see if Dimjon will be able to return the favor and soul read him. This is Negreanu doing what Negreanu does. He looks down at pocket 8s and does not overcomplicate it. He raises to 9,000, the classic, let's thin the field and play a pot in position or heads up. Dimjan on the button chooses the flat. That call is him saying, I want to see 3 cards against the pro and keep my range wide. The flop is one of those dream spots for Negreanu. He flops set on a board that absolutely slams his perceived range. When he continues for 16,000, the bet is doing a lot of work. It looks like a standard continuation bet with ace-king, king-queen, or even pure spade draws, so it keeps Jacobson's floats and Dimjon's entire Broadway region interested. This is where Negreanu turns the screws. He fires 45,000 into a pot that has already grown large, and that sizing is intentional. It says, I still like my story, and if you were floating me with 1 pair or a draw, the price just went up. From his seat, there is no reason to slow down. Worse kings will still call. Combo draws will convince themselves they are priced in, and any hand like queens or jacks is hating life, but may still pay.
Ace jack.
Oh, sure, ain't nothing. I have 3 8s. I want you to go, ugh. All in.
The queen, the straight.
Yeah.
Tony G is looking down on 10-9 offsuit.
Here we go, Phil. Did you raise it?
Pre-flop is Tony G doing exactly what Tony loves to do, take a hand that plays huge on connected boards and drag Hellmuth into a pot.
Back to the same tricks.
I'm not going to let you two just enjoy
Back to
the
the
pan.
same old, same old.
I feel like I'm stuck in the middle of a triangle.
Stuck in the middle.
Hellmuth opens King-Jack, a very Hellmuth hand, strong enough to raise, not quite strong enough to want a giant pre-flop war. Tony flats with 10-9 suited, the classic, let's see a flop and torture you later. The flop comes 8, Queen Jack, and it is a total car crash in slow motion. For Tony G, it is perfect. 10-9 gives him the nut straight immediately.
We're gonna draw. Draw your gun.
I got a big draw, Tony. What do you want me to do?
The turn brings the 5 of diamonds, which looks like a total brick. Nothing about this card should scare off a player who was happy on the flop. Tony now leans on the situation. The sizing tells the full story. Into a pot that was already inflated, this is not a little probe, it is a serious ask. With the nuts, Tony wants value from exactly what Hellmuth has, strong 1-pair hands and pair plus draws that hate folding versus him. Hellmuth thinks it through and calls again.
Where's the big draw now? Oh, where's the big draw? I'm gonna check to you or what?
Well, I thought maybe you would, yeah.
Yeah.
Hellmuth is now facing the most brutal question. Do you really think I am the kind of guy who triple barrels this size with nothing on this board after you called twice? Or if Tony ever gives up his bluffs on earlier streets, which he often does when met with resistance, then this river bet becomes heavily weighted toward value. Hellmuth tanks and convinces himself that against Tony G specifically, people just do not always have it.
All right, I call.
He makes the call.
There you go. Welcome to the game.
Ouch.
Just flops the nuts just off the bat.
Welcome to the game. You've been doing a lot of talking. Now show me your bullets. Show me what you brought to the game. Where's your money? Don't tell me you're gonna play with that crap. You're not gonna embarrass yourself here, are you? Yet again. Phil, produce.
Tony G is holding 5-4 offsuit. Pre-flop. Tony G opens to 1,000. Hellmuth bumps it to 2,000. That re-raise looks small, almost like a keep-it-friendly sizing, but it is actually very revealing. With a hand that plays great post-flop and dominates Tony's usual junk, Hellmuth chooses control over punishment. He does not go big and try to blow Tony out. He invites him in.
Things can get nasty at the end, right? The river was wild.
Confident that if they see a flop, he will outplay him. Tony checks, which is standard with his marginal pair and draw potential. But Hellmuth checks back as well. That check from a 3-better on this texture is all about pot control and deception. In Hellmuth's head, his hand is good often enough that he wants to see turns and rivers without inflating variance. From Tony's perspective, this is the perfect moment to take the lead. He bets 4,000. It looks like a probe from a weak 9 or a semi-bluff, but underneath it is pure value, designed to keep Hellmuth's entire range in.
Call.
That's 10 grand. Phil calls,
call.
sees the bad news.
He has a full house.
You didn't raise?
At least maybe we'll get the blow up we're all waiting for.
I know you got a flush.
The 9. This guy's raising.
He's got a
raising.
9. You try.
Explosion's about to happen.
Bring the trike.
Bottom pair against top pair. Where he's going to pay me off another 7,000, 8,000. But no, he fills up and wins 14 for me.
You're a disgrace to the game.
Where did he come up with that?
I'll tell you, can I tell you one thing, Tony? Can I tell you one thing? I wish that I weren't a bad loser sometimes, but it's 10 times as bad to be a bad winner. And you're a bad winner, my friend.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down on Jack 10 suited.
That just makes me so sick to my stomach. I mean, whether I'm right or wrong, it just makes me sick.
Pre-flop this looks innocent, but the roles at the table are already defined. Mercier is the young, aggressive straddler. Hellmuth is the self-appointed sheriff who hates getting pushed around. Hellmuth just limps with Jack 10 suited, a hand that could easily open or raise, but that he chooses to park in the weeds. The flop comes 4-5 king, 2 diamonds. It is a board that hits the straddler way more than the limper. Mercier has actually connected, bottom pair plus a gut shot, with some backdoor diamond possibilities. Hellmuth has pure air. When Hellmuth checks, Mercier does exactly what you expect a good aggressive player to do. He fires 1,200 into the dead money. Small sizing, classic range bet saying, I have all the kings, 5s, and random pairs here, and you probably don't. Hellmuth's response is immediate and loud. He snap raises to 4,000. That raise is not really about his cards. It is about yanking the pot away from the kid who just stabbed at it. The turn brings the ace of clubs and dramatically shifts the texture without actually improving either hand in a made hand sense. Mercier's 4 is still just a small pair, but now Hellmuth picks up a legitimate draw. After representing strength on the flop, Hellmuth has found some real backup equity. He leans into the story and bets 8,000. That sizing is telling. It is not all in pressure. It is a keep calling if you dare. The river is the 6 of hearts, a complete brick for Hellmuth. This is the moment where a lot of players light money on fire by following through just because they have to tell the story. Hellmuth does something quietly smart. He gives up. He checks and admits that his bluff has run out of road.
What the is going on here? The bad player should call with bottom pair. I call 9,000 more with Jack 10 or whatever the hell he had. I just spike a jack like it's nothing.
Like 2 jacks.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, Donnie. Well done. That's fine. You made a good call. I just want to play another 5-6 hours and see how many times you lose with hands like that. Jason, I think, is an excellent player.
He just said he was a bad player.
I'm the
right
bad
after
player,
the hand, you go,
apparently.
these bad players. And he's the one who made these bad players calling me with bottom pair. See, that's the thing. You insult him because you're losing and feel like it's okay.
I thought you hit the 6. I was kind of upset. That's why
tried to hit the 6?
I made a disgusting check in the river.
Check.
God, I just lost.
Put him on 6-7.
6.
Tony G is looking down on 7-5 offsuit. This pre-flop is one of those spots where history sets the trap before the cards even hit the felt. Tony G opens the button with 7-5 offsuit, which is basically him saying, I'm raising my seat, not my hand. He knows the table. He knows Negreanu will defend wide from the big blind.
I'm gonna raise you.
and does exactly what a strong thinking player does versus a loose button steal. He pushes back. The re-raise to 4,400 is not just value, it is a message.
I'm gonna raise the pot.
Oh, this is the type of game it is, huh?
You have no idea. It's been
Every hand?
every hand. From the very first hand, too.
It's been vicious.
32 more?
To 4,400.
That's the first time I've re-raised from the big blind.
Tony calls.
You must have a really good hand.
It's true. Re-raised him from the big blind when he raised on the button? Very first time.
The flop comes king, 9, 8, and for Negreanu, this is about as good as it gets without actually making a hand.
You must have a really good hand.
Not bad.
Did you qualify?
I qualified.
Qualified.
Queen 10 suited here is a dream semi-bluff. Range-wise, it smashes him as the 3-better.
Take it.
He has all the big broadways, all the strong kings, all the overpairs. Tony, on the other hand, is sitting there with 7 high and a handful of backdoors. The turn brings the ace, and that card completely rewrites the script in a very subtle way. For Negreanu, range-wise, it is an absolute slam dunk card to barrel. The ace belongs to the pre-flop 3-better. This is where Tony's line becomes dangerous. With 7-5, he has almost nothing, some tiny backdoor straight ideas, but nothing you want to stack off with. Yet he raises to 30,000. That raise is not about his hand. It is about everything he knows about Negreanu's range and the situation.
Guess what I got?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I got. You're gonna have to take it,
Maybe
sir.
a draw.
Daniel folds.
Maniac play pays off again.
Queen 10 of spades I had.
Just threw 20 in, hoping for the best. You the Mr. Robo, right?
I'm happy to be at this table. Chips are fine.
Friendlies, we're very liberal.
Bet 10,000, get raised. Insta-muck. My type of game.
Daniel Negreanu has 6-3 suited.
Tony, the only reason I played is they told me you were going to be on the show. They just called me right now at my house, and they're like, we got a game with Tony G. And I got here as fast as I could.
And
so
if you didn't, someone else would have. It was a race, and you just beat someone else.
Pre-flop, this is Tony G doing Tony G things.
And you folded every hand, and you're tilting me up so much. Hello?
I have folded 2 hands.
He opens to 1,500 with 10 deuce offsuit, pure ego fuel, not hand strength.
What is going on here? Bring someone that's gonna play a hand.
It is the kind of stab he loves.
Okay, I'll play.
6-3 suited looks like garbage on paper, but against Tony's opening range, it is exactly the kind of hand you do not mind defending. It is cheap, it is suited, it can flop disguise monsters, and most importantly, it keeps Tony's bluffs in the pot.
I'm the donkey, I gotta sit here and play every hand?
I have a maniac on my left.
What maniac? I'm just playing.
You have to play tight when you have a maniac on your left.
The flop comes ace-6-6, and it is about as close to a dream as you can script for the big blind defend. Negreanu goes from speculative suited trash to trips with 99% chance to win. The only question left is whether Tony G can read him for what he has or not.
Daniel thinks you can just take it from me.
He is up against a line that screams real strength from a player who is not known for punting stacks with nonsense in these spots.
You can. I mean, I can't defend it any
I
longer.
have 3 6s, by the way.
Really?
Of course, yeah, because if I would have had nothing, you would have just played, but because I have 3 6s, you have to fold.
That is sick. You had 3 6s. Really?
I did, yes.
That's sick.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on King 10 offsuit. Pre-flop, this is Negreanu doing what every good straddler dreams of doing, punishing the limp fest. 4 players just flicking calls against his live straddle, essentially telling him, we do not have a raising hand. When he looks down at King 10 offsuit, it is not a monster, but in this configuration it becomes a weapon.
I'll go against my better judgment with this one.
He wants to play.
He bumps it up to 5,400, a size that taxes all the junky limp ranges and creates real money in the middle. Tony G decides to come along with Queen 3 suited. That call is very Tony. He has position, he has a suited hand, and he loves chaos. Strategically, it is loose but not insane when deep. And he gets Negreanu heads up, and that Negreanu is raising wide enough that post-flop aggression will matter more than raw hand strength. Once everyone else gets out of the way, those assumptions are live. This pot is now all about who tells the better story.
I have no idea what you have, just for the record.
The flop comes 7-8 jack with 2 spades, an absolute smash for the kind of hands Tony is supposed to defend with, and a very awkward board for a one-and-done c-bet from Negreanu. Negreanu checks with king 10. That check looks passive, but it quietly keeps his range uncapped. Tony, however, with queen 3 of spades, does something that really shapes the hand. He takes the free card, and with it, he keeps his range face up. The turn is the 9, and that card flips the script in a way neither of them can see from the outside. Negreanu goes from decent equity to third best possible straight, but he does not rush to grab chips. He checks again. That second check is powerful. From Tony's seat, it looks like weakness, or at best, some kind of marginal showdown hand that did not want to bluff the flop and is now scared of the ever-worsening texture. For Tony, the 9 actually helps too. He now has queen high with a gut shot to the 10 and his flush draw still live. The river pairs the jack, and this is where the hand becomes all about missed opportunity.
I got a straight.
Unbelievable. I mean, why can't I hit one time? It's like, I can't hit one hand. Played it so big, like, can't hit a hand at all.
Well, Daniel scoops up a nice pot of almost $64,000.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 5-4 suited. Pre-flopman. This is a classic clash between perceived strength and disguised equity. Johanna 3 bets big with ace-queen, exactly the kind of hand that wants to isolate the opener and play a bloated pot from position.
Okay, I bet.
Negreanu flats on the button with 5-4 of hearts, fully aware that he is dominated high card-wise but armed with a hand that smashes low, connected boards. Once George gets out of the way, Johanna thinks she has created a clean heads-up spot against a capped calling range.
I pay.
When in reality, she has invited one of the worst possible suited connectors to the party. The flop comes a disaster for Johanna's range. Her overcards and backdoor possibilities shrink in value while Negreanu quietly connects as hard as it gets, a made straight with a live flush draw. When she continuation bets 100,000, it is completely standard. This is the board she is supposed to attack after 3-betting pre. Negreanu just check calls, and that passive line is lethal. From her side, it looks like exactly what she wants to see. The turn brings the ace, finally giving Johanna top pair on top of her draw and seemingly flipping the script. She barrels 200,000, and now Negreanu springs the trap, check raising to 500,000. That raise is polar, strong value, or big bluffs, and against most players, ace-queen with a strong draw feels too good to fold.
500. 3 more.
Negreanu's line almost never contains bluffs here. He has been slow playing on an ultra-wet flop, and the ace is a perfect card for him to attack.
I'm all in.
I call.
An all-in and a call.
I have it. She has a flush draw too?
4 5 of hearts for
8 of hearts for her. Sick hand, huh?
That doesn't help her.
That was very unlucky.
Wow, what a hand.
Yeah.
Tony G is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop. This is one of those spots where the seeds of disaster get planted before anyone sees a board. Tony G opens the pot with ace-jack offsuit, exactly the kind of hand he is happy to lean on the table with. He is there to apply pressure, not to wait around for premiums. Seaver calls with king deuce of hearts, a loose but very on-brand suited peel against Tony's wide opening range. He is looking to tangle, take flops, and make Tony play post-flop. With these two,
too easy.
This is still completely standard deep stack poker, but you can already feel the hand turning into a little ego test between two players who love putting each other in tough spots. The texture instantly turns the hand into a clash of extremes. Tony has the nut flush draw with ace-jack, plus a gut shot to the 10 and 2 overcards to Seaver's weaker 1-pair holdings. Seaver, meanwhile, has quietly flopped top and bottom 2-pair on a monotone board with no club in his hand. It is a dream and a nightmare at the same time, massively ahead of all the bear club draws and random kings, but stone dead if anyone already has a made flush.
I'm all in.
Scott's all in. Tony calls.
Run it once again, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has 2 pair. He has the straight. The straight for sure. Tony, you have a straight.
No.
You have a straight.
This is, again, a too many outs syndrome. I wish he just had ace-jack no club, then I'd be in trouble. Ace-jack with a club, though? Too many outs.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Jack on the turn.
Okay, now it could be an ace, jack, 10.
Like I said, this is way too many outs syndrome. Way too many outs.
The river. A brick.
Unreal.
Well done.
You never win any hands.
No.
Crazy.
That's it.
Sorry, Tony.
Tony G is looking down on pocket sixes.
Liberal rules for straddling.
What are the rules?
Any position, any amount you like.
Whatever you want, you can just put 10,000.
People have, 100,000 I've seen.
Wow.
Straddle?
All the time.
$100,000
$100,000 straddle.
All
And
the time.
If the
It'd be
guy
kind of hard to fold if you bought him for 150.
Pre-flop, this is classic. Everybody's got a story set up in a 3-bet pot. Negreanu opens light from early position with 7-5 offsuit, doing what he does best, putting chips in and trusting his post-flop edge. Corkins wakes up with ace-king and makes it 10K, completely standard. He is isolating the opener, expecting to play a big pot heads up with the range and skill advantage. Then Tony G in the blinds looks down at pocket sixes and just flats, which is already interesting. Sixes hate getting 4-bet and blown off their equity, but they love seeing 3-way flops with deep stacks. When Negreanu completes, you end up with a bloated 3-bet pot where Corkins has the range advantage.
Join the party.
It's just 2 chips.
Tony has the sneaky set potential, and Negreanu is along for the ride with a hand that will usually have to give up. The flop comes about as good as it gets for Tony. Corkins smashes the board in the obvious way with top pair, top kicker, but Tony absolutely buries it underneath with bottom set. Negreanu's 7-5 connects only with the 6, giving him some weak backdoor dreams, but he is already in trouble if money goes in.
Put a little pressure on.
Maximum pot.
At least you're not in. That means I got a chance or a fold. It's when they move straight in, then you it.
Hoyt is in a wicked spot.
Right, I'm drawing live, no matter what. Believe me, whatever you do, I'm alive in this hand. It's not like I'm putting my money in cold dead, you know?
What would you do in this situation? You have Tony G blabbering in your face while you have top pair. Let me know in the comments.
You call 10,000 cold, huh? All right, I'm all in.
Corkins shoves and Tony calls.
Drawing real life.
Hoyt sees how thin he's drawing.
Wow.
How many times would you like to run it?
I think I got to run it, what, 40 times to get one?
40 times to win one.
You want to run it twice? That means...
Okay.
We'll
Twice is good.
2 times.
4 of spades on the turn.
I make the
So
nuts.
Tony's won half the pot.
Wow.
Yeah, the absolute nuts.
All right, let's put something out there to give us a bit of hope. Okay? Dealer, I want a big card, a huge card.
It's a queen.
Ooh,
there it is.
Now he needs a 10.
The river. It's a king.
How close was that?
Okay, guys.
Really?
Phil Ivey is looking down on 5 deuce suited. Pre-flop, this is a classic clash of ranges rather than hands. Sands opens from early position with ace-5 of hearts, a hand that plays beautifully deep. It cracks big aces, flops disguise 2-pair, and has wheel potential. Ivey defends the big blind with 5-2 of clubs, which looks like garbage, but actually has some sneaky properties here. Getting a good price, he is happy to come along wide and try to make something strange on a board that is supposed to smash the razor. The flop comes Dreamland for Sands and a very awkward heaven for Ivey. Sands has top and bottom pair on a semi-wet texture, the exact sort of board his early position range is supposed to own. Ivey, meanwhile, connects harder than he deserves, middle pair plus a wheel draw. When Ivey checks and Sands fires 64,000, it is a completely standard value bet. He wants calls from ace-x, pocket pairs, and all the diamond draws. Ivey's call is where the hand starts to get interesting. He is never loving life against an EPC bet on this board, but he has real equity, decent implied odds if a 4 peels, and a range that is supposed to defend some middling pairs and draws. The turn brings the 6 of clubs, which quietly changes a lot. The obvious draws all brick, but Ivey now picks up extra equity and board leverage. His 5-2 becomes a pair plus open-ender on a runout that is getting very hard for Sands to read cleanly in real time. When Ivey checks again and Sands bets 177,000, Sands is still telling a simple story. I had a big hand on the flop, and I still do. He wants to keep extracting from worse aces, stubborn fives, and the various draws that refuse to fold. From Ivey's seat, though, this second barrel is the signal that it is now or never. If he just calls again, he is going to face a brutal river decision on a pot that is already bloated. Instead, he turns his hand into a pressure tool and rips in a massive check raise to 527,000. That raise is doing two things at once. First, it leverages Ivey's range advantage on this texture. From Sands' perspective, the big blind can absolutely have sets, weird two pairs like 6-5 or even 4-2 for the pure nuts. Second, it maximizes the value of Ivey's equity when called. He is not bluffing with air. If Sands stands his ground, Ivey still has a real shot to improve.
All in. Guess you could have that, maybe. And I'm not in bad. I'm not in that bad shape. If you no way you have that. This is so. This one's funny. This one is funny.
Phil Ivey's been spending too much time with Daniel Negreanu.
Okay. All right, okay, I'll call.
Ivey's gonna go for it.
Gulp.
Fives and deuces no good. He needs a club or a 4 on the river.
So stupid I am.
Now he's been spending too much time with Yoda. Ivey does have 12 outs, which means he's gonna hit a little more than 1 out of every 4 times.
It's a 6 on the river. We lose Phil Ivey.
Yeah, Phil. Thanks.
This time the Doc does take out the Ivey.
He's just won the biggest pot of the tournament so far. He now has over...
Daniel Negreanu is holding 8-6 suited. Pre-flop, this is exactly the kind of button versus early dynamic where small mistakes get magnified. Gruesome opens 5100 from early position, a completely standard raise that projects strength and hits a lot of high card boards. Negreanu just flats on the button with one of his trademark speculative holdings. It is the kind of hand that rarely dominates anything but quietly crashes big pots whenever it actually connects. The flop is a board that gives each player just enough to keep going. Gruesome has 2 overcards and range advantage, so his 8,000 continuation bet is automatic. He is repping all the big queens, overpairs, and strong draws that fit his open. Negreanu, on the other hand, has exactly what he was hoping for, middle pair with a decent kicker in position. Folding second pair here would be way too tight. Raising would turn his hand into a bluff, so he does what he does best and turns it into a bluff catcher, flatting and forcing Gruesome to keep telling the story. The turn brings the 2 of hearts, and this is where the hand really sharpens. The card is a brick for Negreanu, but it quietly upgrades Gruesome bluff. He can now pretend he picked up a backdoor heart draw to go with his overcards, which makes barreling much more attractive. His 18,000 second shell is not just aggression for aggression's sake.
How much is that?
He is attacking all Negreanu's 1 pair, I'll call once and see, hands and putting pressure on exactly the kind of 8x that Negreanu happens to hold. Negreanu thinks it through and again chooses the stubborn line. His pair of 8s is still ahead of all the floats and semi-bluffs, and with position he is happy to keep Gruesome's range wide and confused. Then the river drops the ace, and that single card flips the script. All the way through the hand, Gruesome has been representing big aces and queens. Now he actually gets there.
Make sure it's not there. Nope, it's not there.
Pretty easy fold at this point. Daniel's only beating complete air.
He passes.
Hearts, I guess.
What's that?
Phil Ivey is looking down on ace-9 offsuit, pre-flop. This is Ivey doing something he has done his whole career, isolating the big blind and putting him in a kicker cage before the flop even comes. He opens with ace-9 offsuit, a classic sit-between trash and premium, hand that plays very well when you are better than your opponent post-flop. Quast defends ace-5 suited, and that call already sketches the outlines of his problem. He is never folding an ace this deep in the big blind getting a price, but his kicker is trash against a competent early position raiser. He is walking into a pot where every time he hits an ace, he has to live with the fear that the other guy's kicker will be better. The flop comes low and dry. From Quast's point of view, this is one of those, I have nothing, but I am probably still ahead sometimes. He has ace high with a straight possibility, but no real pair, no showdown value yet. He checks, and Ivey fires 80,000 into a little over 100. That sizing is interesting. It is not a tiny range c-bet. It is a solid, confident stab that says, I expect you to fold a lot. With ace-9, Ivey is turning the best ace-high into a value protection bet. He is targeting exactly this type of thing: random overcards, weak-suited aces, and small pairs that do not want to face big pressure. Quas's call keeps things honest. He is not believing that this board always belongs to the raiser, and he knows Ivey can barrel. The river ace is the entire hand. It looks like a blank for the story, but it turns everything upside down. Both players suddenly smash top pair, and now that kicker problem Quas created pre-flop shows up in bright neon lights. Ivey reads that hesitation and fires 150,000. Quas goes into the tank and eventually pays it off. Mike X is looking down on 4-3 suited. Pre-flop this looks like a friendly limped almost family pot, but it secretly plants the seeds for a brutal cooler. J-Boggs just limps UTG with King 9 suited, Big Mike over limps with Ace 7, and Mike X comes along with 4-3 suited. Nobody has defined anything. There is no pre-flop aggression, and that means once the board gets messy, ranges stay wide, and people get married to hands they should be more suspicious of. The flop comes Ace-Jack 5 with a flush draw. It is one of those textures that punches Big Mike right in the chest, top pair with a decent kicker. J-Boggs leads 900 into the field, semi-bluffing with his draw and representing some weak ace or jack. Big Mike's call is very natural. He is way ahead of all the random stabs and worse aces that can limp. Mike X's call with bottom pair plus backdoor possibilities looks loose, but has a plan. In a limped pot, he is getting a good price and knows that if he improves, his hand will be heavily disguised. The turn brings the 4, which is a complete brick for Mike X. He is still hoping to draw that 4 of diamonds, so let's see what happens. And still no obvious danger showing. Action goes. Check from J-Boggs. Big Mike fires 3,000 as a standard value bet with top pair on a coordinated board. Mike X just calls again, and J-Boggs comes along with his strong draw. That passive flat from Mike X is sneaky, but it also keeps the pot multi-way on a board that is starting to load up with strong made hands and big draws. By the time they see a river, the pot is already big relative to stacks. The river drops the deuce, completing the flush wheel for Mike X, but, crucially, also completing the front door flush for J-Boggs. J-Boggs checks trying to trap with what he assumes is the nuts. Big Mike gives up and checks behind, and Mike X goes for what looks like a thin but reasonable value bet of 6,500. When J-Boggs now check raises to 20,000, he is screaming polarization, either a busted bluff turning into a story, or exactly a big flush. Mike X's shove over the top takes his hand from cleverly disguised to face-up spew. J-Boggs obliges and snaps with the king-high nut flush.
Can't fold.
Here's the call. And here comes Clifford.
You knew it. I have the nut flush.
Nut flush?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. The red canine brings out the red canine. Go get him. Take him off his leash.
When I re-raise, like, can't have anything else.
Go get Clifford out of rebuy corner. Clifford's down there. We're gonna have to follow you. Make sure you don't punch.
The sickest pot maybe I've ever lost in my life.
Oh, Cliffy.
Nut flush versus a straight flush on the river for like 90,000.
79, but who's counting?
Deuce has never looked that good. That was a good-looking deuce.
Wow.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 6-5 of spades. He opens the suited connector because that's Negreanu's playground hand, cheap, connected, and live. Williams flatting the suited wheel ace is already a headache for anyone who c-bets too often. In position, deep, and with the ace of spades, he's got you in a leash if the board gets wet. Flop comes disaster for most ranges, but both players hit the spade. Negreanu has the baby flush, and does the thing he always does in these textures. Small c-bet to fold out air, tax the lone spade hands, and keep the initiative. From his chair, that bet looks profitable against a ton of single spade peels and random overcards that hate life. Williams just calls with the nut spade like he's ordering room service. Why raise when the guy with the microphone wants to keep talking? Let him. Turn is a brick that freezes almost nobody. Negreanu barrels bigger. That sizing is classic. I can still be the boss. Telling the table he can easily have the ace or king of spades, and that worse flushes should pay to see the river. Williams still doesn't accelerate. Flat again. That second call is a quiet message. Nothing you're repping scares me, and I'm not done letting you put money in for me. To Negreanu's eyes, that's a card that changes nothing. He is either the sole flush or Williams has him beat. For that reason, he slows down and bets only 6,000. Williams is not happy with and raises to 36,000, trying to juice his nut flush to the max.
How much more?
30,000 more.
Daniel calls and sees the terrible news.
Welcome to my world.
I had a flush too.
We could have got it all in on the flop.
Jesus.
Doyle Brunson is looking down on ace-8 suited. Scott Seaver opens to 1,200 from early position into a deep, splashy lineup. The table does what this table always does. They come along. Phil Galfond flats, the loose cannon. Given calls, Doyle Brunson calls, and a couple more chips splash in behind. No one wants to fold suited cards or connected stuff in position, and Seaver is now driving a multi-way pot with a stack-to-pot ratio that rewards made hands and nutted draws more than thin bluffs. Flop is a fireworks board in a 5-way pot. It checks down to Galfond, who takes the initiative for 2,600. That probe makes sense with overcards, pairs, or a diamond in hand. Given immediately springs to 10,000. From his seat, Jack 10 of diamonds, or a single diamond hand with some backdoors, feels like it wants to put pressure on one diamond check calls and small pairs. Doyle just calls. That flat is icy. It invites everyone to continue while hiding the real story. Ace-8 of diamonds has already arrived at the nut flush, and cold calling keeps in every dominated diamond that wants to rep strength. The king of hearts hits. Front door diamonds are still the headline, and the king also upgrades a few holdings to top pair plus a diamond, given shoves. He is polar now, telling the table he has a monster or nothing, and with Jack 10 of diamonds, he believes he is value, jamming a strong flush before a scary river kills action. Doyle does not posture or speech play, he just calls. That call is the hammer drop. When the man with the cowboy hat does not even consider raising, it caps everyone else and quietly signals, "I have you crushed, keep betting."
All in.
He's all in. Doyle calls.
He's got the nuts.
I got the... Oh. I just straight. Good hand. Under on deb. Good game, guys.
Good game, man.
It was fun.
Whoa, Canada. That's it for the cannon.
Dang, you hit the card and you didn't...
Yeah.
The loose cannon is looking down on 10-8 suited. He opens to 2,000 from early position and gets a crowd of people that flat behind him. Nobody is squeezing, so the pot goes multi-way with a lot of capped ranges. Ferdinand still owns the initiative, but he is also walking into a 4-way pot, which can always get messy.
Love the action, boys. I could use these chips.
Yeah, we're giving you the action, you know that.
Can you feel the love?
I love it.
You'll get the opportunity, that's for sure.
Well, if I fold, I'm definitely rooting for you to win.
Flop comes a minefield. Veldhouse has Queen 9 suited and quietly connects with top pair. Ferdinand's 10-8 is the hand of the moment here. A flop straight with front door flush and straight flush draws. Mosseri has 2 big overcards and air. Jetton has 10-3 and is done unless something weird happens. Checks roll around to Veldhouse, and that tells him exactly what he needs to know. Nobody screaming straight or a set, and Ferdinand did not stab as the pre-flop raiser. Veldhouse takes the lead for 5,700.
I'm all in.
And he's going all in again. Abe folds.
I wonder who we rooting for this year.
Probably rooting for me to fold.
Ferdinand does not mess around. He rips it. With a flop straight and front door flush, his shove is the classic pressure play.
You got some sick reads, Lex. You got reads on all of us. Yeah. We know one guy that's rooting for you to fold. There he is. There he is.
I know.
He's about to come over and take your cards and throw them right in the muck.
And by using his image of the loose cannon, Veldhouse thinks for about a beat and then
Lex calls, and Bobby loves it.
You got it? Oh my God. Wow, everything. That is everything.
Pretty nice hand, sir.
Nuts.
Nuts redraw.
All season long, I see loose cannons going all in with ace high, middle pair, bottom pair.
No.
That's like going through my head.
You can't even hit the 9 of diamonds to help you make a full house here.
Just the one time is fine for Bobby, thanks. The meaningless river.
Oh, straight flush.
Straight flush he made.
That's sick.
Andy is looking down on ace-4 suited in a three-way pot. Mariano raised to $500 with king 10 suited, and Charles 3-bet to $2,000.
Could we see a cold 4-bet? No, he's going to call, though. Mariano's going to 4-bet, though. Charles calls. Andy may be considering something.
Good call.
He just calls.
The pot is $27,000 pre-flop. They all have an equal chance for now. Let's see what the flop brings.
Oh, no! You gotta be kidding me!
Andy checks because he thinks he has the best hand. Mariano checks because he knows he has the best hand. And Charles checks because he knows he's drawing dead. The turn comes 3 of hearts, and it changes nothing for everyone.
Mariano, in a 4-bet pot, has flopped a straight flush. And Andy with the ace-high flush.
Mariano cannot check anymore with the straight flush and value bets $8,000. Charles understandably folds.
Mariano started this hand with about $300,000.
Andy raises to pot amount $35,000.
Imagine having a straight flush and getting raised.
The only way to get away from an ace-high flush is if the board pairs. In poker, the correct move doesn't always get you the win. Let's see how much Mariano is gonna bet here, and if Andy makes one of the greatest folds in poker history.
Mariano on the right side of your screen, right there, has flopped a straight flush in a 4-bet pot. $97,000 in the pot.
There's no way anyone is folding ace-high flush here.
Board does not pair, and Andy just bets $120,000. Mariano moves all in. Andy calls and shows him the ace. $611,000 pot, and Mariano can't believe it.
Daniel is looking down at Queen Jack suited. 2 players before him have called a pre-flop raise, but he decides to 3-bet to $400. Bo is in the tank, and by the look on his face, folding is not even an option. He's got Queen 5 offsuit, no position, and just watch Daniel fire a 3-bet. What is he even thinking? He just calls, and Dat right after him calls too, holding King 9 suited. A hand that looks way prettier than it actually is when sandwiched between a 3-bet and a call. Jake's turn now, and he also decides to call with 3-4 suited while getting a massage. Damn, that looks good. In fact, I'm gonna visit my Thai masseuse after I finish this video.
Wow. That's a nice flop for Daniel. Not so much for Jake, though he may not think that right now. Top 2 for Dat as well.
Bo, somehow still alive in this hand with Queen 5 offsuit and 0 clubs, fires $500 into a $2,000 pot like he's playing an entirely different game. Is this a bet or a donation? Dat makes the call with top 2 pair, but he knows better than to get frisky here. In a 4-way pot with 3 clubs on the flop, raising would be like poking a beehive and hoping for honey. Jake raises to $3,200 with just a baby flush, and while that might technically be a made hand, it's far from safe. He's not repping the nuts. He's just hoping to scare off anyone sitting there with a single club and a decision to make. Daniel just flats with the second nut flush, a move that keeps the pot manageable, but might come back to haunt him. A raise here could have smoked out any 1-club hand still chasing that dreaded nut flush, but instead, he opts to play it cool.
I fold. That club is going to kill Daniel's action despite him having the super nuts.
Daniel moves all in right away and Jake folds.
Wow.
I know what to do.
I fluffed a nut. Oh my God. Thank you. Straight flush. Is that crazy though?
Daniel Negreanu looks down to King 10 offsuit, a hand with decent equity in a 4-way pot. Against him is Elizabeth Houston, who opens to a Queen Jack offsuit. Let's see who will the poker gods bless this time.
See that? Cheap flop.
Reynolds folds.
Also makes it easier to call this 3-bet from Tony G.
He raises to 2,000. Queen Jack for the cannon. She calls out of position. So does Daniel.
And like that, Williams built himself his own little pot odds.
He calls 2. 4-person party to the flop.
The flop comes 8 Queen Jack Rainbow, which is perfect for Houston. She is looking at top 2 pair with no danger of a flush and only a potential straight or a pocket pair being in her way. Her odds look great, but I think she should have bet harder before Negreanu had a chance to see more of the community cards.
I fold.
Thank you, William.
With the bet sizing being insufficient, even Tony G with his mid pair of jacks that have 2% equity will make the call. The turn delivers the 4 of spades. Things couldn't have been better for Houston. Pocket 4s would have probably folded, same as the pocket 6s from earlier, but she is still afraid of the flush and straight draw. That's why she fires a bet for a bit over half the pot, which I think will be yet again not enough to get Negreanu off his hand.
Daniel's checking out her stack, knowing she probably has something strong enough to lose it all if he does make the nuts.
Negreanu casually calls her $15,000 bet as predicted. But at least Tony G and his adventuristic jacks are gone. Now let's see what the turn will bring for Negreanu. And it is the ace. What a cooler this will be at the end.
That's Daniel's gin card, and this could get ugly for the cannon. I expect her to bet here.
Now she checks.
Somehow she knew to slow down. Daniel's got the nuts. Let's see how much he thinks she'll pay off.
50.
If Elizabeth has watched the show at all, she would know Daniel doesn't bluff raise the river very often. No one does.
If Elizabeth makes this call, she'll have less than 30,000 remaining in her stack.
Call.
Ouch.
She sees it.
Damn it.
She's in with 6s.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with pocket 6s. This is a decent hand to entertain a small raise with and see if luck is on your side.
Back on Arden. She calls the 3-bet as well, so 3-way to the flop. Oh my word, set over set and Griffin's flop top pair?
This is going to be bad for Griffin, but it's going to be real bad for Arden.
With the board that the flop delivers, everyone has something to bet about. But instead of that, Tilly and Cho decide to check. With that in mind, our weak top pair is trying to take control of the board by shooting a small bet of $2,500. Tilly is loving it because other than a set of kings, nothing else on the board beats her, and she would love to see this pot growing, so naturally she calls. Miss Cho, on the other hand, has a completely different plan. She is not waiting for the pot to grow. She is growing it herself. She does that by firing a $9,400 bet. Now Benger has a choice. Entertain this top pair, or realize the truth and just give up.
Why is he so serious? He's like a goober 99% of the time.
The angry man quickly decides to fold and not pursue the king. On the other hand, Tilly is more than happy to oblige Miss Cho by re-raising to $30,000 with her set of 6s.
Oh boy.
Jen re-raises $30,000.
At this point, Miss Cho should know the deep trouble she finds herself in, but still decides to go ahead and call on her set of 5s. The turn delivers the 9 of clubs, a card that is completely irrelevant to both of them. If I was in the position of Tilly, I would be betting pot here. What would you? Let me know in the comments below. I guess Tilly is not so happy about my jamming suggestion, so she decides to check here and wait for something magical on river. Same thing for Miss Cho. In her case, though, that is in her favor.
And Arden spikes a 1-outer. She's got quads. Meanwhile, Jen has rivered a full house.
Buckle up, because this hand just went from pretty sick to absolutely bonkers.
People say patience is a virtue, but in Tilly's case, her patience came to bite her from behind. The river delivers the only card that can save Miss Cho, and that is the 5 of clubs. Now the only question is, will Tilly get baited by her now full house hand? Or will she read her for the quads Miss Cho has? And as we all thought she should do, Miss Cho goes.
There it is.
This is not good.
No, it sure isn't.
If Jen calls, this will be the biggest pot of the game.
Arnon, you have quads because it can't be quads.
Does she know?
I don't think you have kings full. And I don't think you have 9s full. You might have 5s full.
That's a call.
Selps kicks things off with 8-7 suited. This is a hand that can be extremely powerful if the flop falls just right. So currently with McClung on the raise, she is just calling in order to see the pot as cheaply as possible. Herrings and Sanchez both limp call and pray for a good flop. Let's see what the dealer has in store for them.
10, 9, 6. What a flop! A straight flush draw for Vanessa Selbst and a set of sixes for Chris McClung.
With this type of flop, it will be a full-on battle of stacks. Vanessa with the straight on the flop and a potential straight flush is in prime position to extract value from the guys that think they have something to play for. And McClung with his set of sixes does exactly that. He bets more than $1,000, inflating the pot for Selbst.
Herring also flopped pretty huge, like his arms.
After this attempt at humor, Selbst and Herring limp into the turn, and Sanchez folds, which is kind of disappointing because Selbst could have extracted more value before the turn.
And there is the straight flush for Vanessa Selbst.
Now that Selbst has the straight flush, she is unbeatable and is begging that somebody raises. But unfortunately for her, I don't know if they read her or it was pure luck. Both McClung and Herring check, which Selbst then follows. The river delivers the 10 of clubs, which is the perfect card to bait McClung into thinking that having a full house is somehow the strongest hand on the table, which he 100% falls for and bets $4,000. He doesn't want anyone who isn't committed to the hand to be playing it. Selbst takes her sweet time in deciding what to do, which is understandable. When you know you have the best hand on the board, you have the tough decision to make on what size raise do you make to extract maximum value.
She moves all in. Herring folds, decision on McClung.
Herring understandably folds this wild all-in raise from Selbst, but I am wondering whether McClung will take the bait with this full house that he has.
It is bottom full house. Maybe he gets away.
I call.
No, he calls.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on King-Queen offsuit. The table is four-way after Tony G opens, and Viffer, Negreanu, and Scott Seaver all come along. That matters because equities flatten in multi-way pots. Single pair hands lose value while nutted, and draw heavy holdings gain. Tony G's range from early position in this lineup still contains suited connectors.
This is room for everyone to keep improving.
I mean, the way you guys all play, there's certainly tons of room.
Yeah.
Scott calls.
I'm going to go with an old Hellmuth trick. Watch this, gentlemen. Check in the dark. How do you fade that? Seriously. Check in the dark. I don't even want to see what's coming.
Checking through is revealing. On this texture, the pre-flop raiser has a lot of one pair and gut shot combinations that dislike being raised by three players.
See how that worked? Because if I wouldn't have done that, they would have been more scared. My turn, right?
Daniel's still open-ended.
Did you qualify?
Yes, I've qualified pretty comfortably at this point. Question is, how much do I want to put in there?
You checked.
No, I'm not, for sure.
You're not checking?
Yeah. If you're folding any bet, you can just do that now. I'm going to put in...
The turn is the 7 of spades, a huge card for Tony G's side of the range, and a bad one for capped checkbacks. Negreanu leads $3,600 into the field, a small sizing that targets folds from the Broadway airballs, and denies equity to Queen 9, 9-8, and the club draws. Scott's call with Queen Jack keeps dominated queens in, but the raise from Tony G to $14,000 is the pivotal data point. After a street of passivity, that raise is heavily weighted to value.
If I win the pot, I'll give you your money back.
Negreanu's call with King-Queen looks ambitious only if you ignore blocker logic. He removes the queen that completes Tony G's higher straight and retains outs to the ace or 9 to make his own. Scott correctly recognizes he's in kicker jail and releases.
Wow, that was a big sweat.
Took a long time. That speech really got him.
He made a big laydown just now.
The river is the 9 of diamonds. Range-wise, it's a dagger for Tony G. His made straight from the turn remains a straight, but Negreanu's King-Queen now upgrades to the higher straight. When Negreanu fires $35,000, the story is polarized between exactly that high straight and bluffs that bricked clubs or random Queen X that tried to push Tony G off a one-pair hand.
Are you also offering my $4,800 back if you...
Tony calls and Daniel wins a $100,000 pot.
I had the nuts on the turn. Wow, well done.
Goofy limps the big blind with King 10 suited. Limping protects his range, invites isolates from hands he dominates, and keeps the pot manageable out of position with a hand that plays cleanly post-flop. Nick Airball isolates to $1,200 from under the gun with Queen 9 offsuit. The raise pressures the limp, seizes initiative, and expects to realize equity against a single caller. Goofy calls. Suited Broadway is too strong to fold, too thin to 3-bet out of position, and calling keeps Nick's range wide. Goofy checks. On an ace high, 2-diamond texture, Nick is supposed to continuation bet often, so checking lets that happen. Nick obliges for $700, a small, range-driven stab that folds air and taxes random backdoors while leaning on his perceived ace advantage. Goofy check raises to $1,700. King 10 of diamonds is a premium semi-bluff, gut shot to Broadway, the king high diamond draw, and even a royal flush. Raising clears out weak queens and 5s to 9s, charges worse draws, and starts a pot that can realize maximum value when diamonds or Broadway materialize. Nick calls with middle pair and position, keeping bluffs in and retaining control of the pot size. Bang! The 3rd diamond lands and Goofy upgrades from a draw to the nuts. With his story perfectly coherent after the flop raise, he leads $2,000. Leading now Prince, worse diamonds pay, stubborn Queen X pays, and some Ace X talk themselves into continuing because the Jack is a counterfeit scare rather than a clean killer in their minds. Goofy goes for a small, irresistible value bet of $3,500. After check raise, lead, and a blank river, this size targets exactly what Nick shows up with most often.
Makes the call. Royale. Royale with cheese. Royal.
If you enjoyed sweating these hands with me, tap the video on the screen and jump into more breakdowns of the craziest poker spots.